In this video, I unbox an early copy of the next version of Vision Basic, version 1.1. I will then go on to update that disk with some bug fixes made after I received the shipment, and I will discuss and demonstrate a few of the new features of the software. Wow. This is amazing. Whoa. Oh, it did have a disc in here too. I'll have to take a closer look at this. I love this. I'm very thankful to have this. Can't wait to start digging in. It's like there's a spot for two PCBs, or two chips there. GeoRAM Remix. Very cool. Ugh, really? Let's see if I can get into this. So I assume that's in. We will test that out. All right, let's give this thing a spin. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and plug in my Vision Basic GeoRAM cartridge into my Ultimate 64. Power it on. I've dug out my 1541.2 floppy drive, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw in the Vision 1.1 floppy disk and see what we have. It is connected to device 9. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and load it. A to accept or X to exit. Let's put it in caps. Take caps off. And we're off and running. Now, one thing we need to do is enable the GeoRAM settings. And I don't know how to do that. We need to get programs written. F1. So I have to break out the manual. So let's go ahead and type the file command. Switch over to settings and go down. Push the space bar on that until it says Geo. And then hit return and save the settings to disk. And it asks, do you want to restart basic? Yeah, we do, because we want that to work. And we have an insufficient RAM error. So this error, insufficient RAM, might be specific to the Ultimate. So I'm going to go in and check the settings. And under C64 and cartridge settings, notice that RAM expansion unit is enabled. Maybe we have to switch that. Let's check it out. And then here, I was thinking about disabling, then I noticed that there's this GeoRAM mode. So maybe I don't even need the cartridge for you when I have this. So I'm not sure if I should use GeoRAM or just say disabled and let it hopefully pick that up from the cartridge. That's what I want to try first. And then we'll try loading up the game again. I mean the program again. Oops. That went a little further. Alright, so let me see. What is the program doing? Oh, you can't look at it. I was able to successfully load it up now. I have GeoRAM turned on. Let's confirm that. Yep. Do not save settings, escape out. Let's put in a quick program. Just something dumb like that. There we go. Somehow was it either Commodore restore or run stop restore setting it. Okay, run stop restore broke out of it. Now I type save. I don't know if that saves GeoRAM. Hold on. I gotta look that one up. All I did was type save, so I don't know if that saved anything. Is that untitled? That's probably that untitled. Yeah, okay, it just saved it as a default file name. Ah. Okay, so you have to do gsave. Now let's try powering it off. Powering it back on. And then try that sys command like Dennis showed in his previous video. Because right now there's nothing in memory. 57,000. Alright, I was finally able to get the GeoRAM working with the Ultimate. It did not work at first, as you may have seen on my previous segment. What I had to do was go into the cartridge settings, set the cartridge to external. I made sure the REU was disabled and the preload was disabled for good measure. And then I also turned off my Jiffy ROM. I don't know if that was necessary. In fact, I could probably turn that back on. There we go. So now I have Jiffy DOS. Yeah, that seemed much faster. Anyway, I'm on a fresh boot. I don't have any program loaded, but the GeoRAM is in place, and I should just be able to type SYS 57000, just like in Dennis's video. Let's try it. And then boom, here we are back in Vision Basic with my program loaded, which is beautiful. And so that is the advantage of having that GeoRAM installed. You could just go away for, he says in his manual and in the book, for up to 3 months, maybe longer, depending upon how long the battery saves your program. But I wouldn't rely on that entirely. Be sure to save copies of your program onto another medium so that you don't lose it, just in case, especially if you have a real program. This test program doesn't really count. All right, in this segment, I am attempting to take the latest version of Vision Basic 1.1, which has a few bug fixes, and put it onto this floppy disk, which has a few bugs on it. This disk here is set to device 9 and has my temporary program on it at the bottom called Untitled. And I'm going to do this with the program called Copy version 1.0. So I'm going to go into the Ultimate and go down to that program and run it. Copy. There's a lot of ways you could do this, but and this is my first time trying this software, so I'm stumbling through it a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is notice that it says drive 8, bottom right. I'm going to hit F1 to get a directory. Okay, so that's I'm still in the draw program. Drive 8 is the Ultimate, drive 9 is the disk. So let's mount Vision Basic. This is my updated version. Now we're still on disk 8, drive 8. Let's hit F1. And then note this is the contents of that disk, and notice that I don't have that temporary program on there. And if I do F3 to up the device number, we get activity over here, and now I am on drive 9. And if I scroll down, there's my temporary program. So that's at least how I know which disk I'm looking at. Now I'm going to try, there's the copy feature, C to copy. So let's see how that works. Select destination drive. Okay, so I'm going to hit escape. Is there an escape? What I want to do first is go back to drive 8 by hitting F5. So now I'm on drive 8. And then hit copy. And then it says select destination drive. Which I guess I hit, I'm not sure how to select it. I guess I go device F5 to go, I'm sorry, F3 to go plus. enter. And let that rip. Okay, so it's saying I can't do that because the files already exist. So I think then what I have to do is go out. The software here, it does have delete. Let's hit D for delete. Delete files and directories on drive 9. Yes, because I want to erase these. And we're getting activity here. If you can see the drive light or not. And now let's do a directory. It didn't delete anything. Is it write protected? This is not write protected. Delete. Yes. Says it's deleting. Oh, so it's only going to delete one file at a time like this? Oh, that's horrible. Oops. Is there a way to select? Oh, I see. Star to toggle. There we go. So I toggle everything, then hit delete. Okay. Now we have a blank disk. I'm going to switch back F5 to go to drive 8. Then I'm going to do that asterisk toggle and hit copy, C to copy. And then it says to select the destination drive, so I'm going to hit plus, which is F3, and then hit enter. Oh, that's kind of neat. You see the R and the RW. Reading, writing. Reading, writing. It's going to take a little while, so I'll speed this part up. Okay, it looks like it is done. And that took about 10 to 15 minutes. I wasn't really timing it. And just looking at that first page there, it looks, I can't speak. It looks like it's in the same order as the source disk, which I appreciate because I was worried it was going to come up in a different order. All right, so now let's see. Let's exit the program and I'm going to turn the computer off and try loading it directly, load division directly off of the floppy drive. First, let's get a directory, comma 9. Oops. This is device 9. Yep, okay, and now let's run it. Oh, no, comma 9. Comma 9 blend. All right, load. All right, so it's just like I'm running this for the first time. And I'm going to hit down arrow. Digitally sign your name here. I'm going to put it as one word since it's split the first and last names there. Didn't used to do that. It would allow a full space and then display the whole name. All right, so there we are. Now let's, I think, if we do a dir, you'll notice my program is not at the bottom there. However, it is stored on the GeoRAM. So what I'm going to do is do a quit to basic and then do a sys 57000 and see if it's still in memory. We'll do that ultimate test here. Oh, it saved my position. Let's see. Okay, so that's why you save your programs. All right, no big deal in this case because my program was very small. Let's do F1. Let's do a dir. All right. So 10 print. Go to 10. You know, just something very simple. List gsave. So now we have it all saved, and in theory I can power everything off now and do the sys command and be right back to that point in time. I'll even unplug it. I'll unplug the cable and power it on. Right back where I was. That is a really nice feature. Now I'm going to save the program. Last time all I did was hit save. I know I could give it a name, but I'm just going to hit save. I do like that feature. It just gives it it saves it as untitled. So there you have it. I have updated my disk 100% with the one that was downloaded from the Vision Basic website, which is beautiful. Now I'm going to start digging into some of the commands. Alright, I am kind of going through the manual, starting on chapter 22, where Dennis Osborne talks about the new enhancements, or the new things that are in Vision Basic 1.1. The first couple of things he talks about are the speed enhancements, and then there's a few changes to the blank command, which the way the system works is the screen turns blank when you compile or run a program, so I'm not really too interested in playing around with that command right now. He goes on to discuss the GeoRAM enhancements and the GeoRAM support, and the first command is the gsave. And if we just had a quick program, let's do this again. New just something stupid like that. And what you ought to be able to do is just hit gsave and power off your unit, which I might lose my save here. There we go. And then SYS 57000 and list, and we are right back where we are. Now there's a value for gsave where gsave space 0 will turn off this auto save or the auto backup. I guess there's a backup feature. I'm not really sure how that works. And then a gsave 1 space 1, not only does it save, but it turns on the backup feature. So just being able to type sys 5700, it's really easy to remember. It's a really nice feature that was added in to Vision Basic 1.1. The next thing he goes on to discuss is this catch raster line. This is more of an advanced topic, but he does list a few good examples of how it can be used. So let's type those in, and I'm following from page 245 in the new manual. So basically we have 10 catch 51, and that's kind of an arbitrary raster line entry. And then he's doing an assembly language command to increment 53280 which I believe is the border. And then on line 20, catch 251. Well, the spacing matters, but oh. And decrement 53280. So that's going to cause a raster bar. And then 30, get M. If M is 0, then repeat. So let's see what that does. Let me hit enter on those lines and run the program. Ah, okay. So I guess he did it from the top to the bottom, essentially right at the very top where the border ends and right at the bottom. There's a little bit of a flashing there, which might have to do with the keyboard input. Hit the space bar, program over. He does have a good explanation. I really like the new manual. The spiral is beautiful, and he puts a lot of effort, you could clearly tell, into the manual. And then on the end of the manual, he added a index, which is beautiful, so you can look up any commands. You don't know what page they're on. It's a quick way to look that up. He goes on to show another example, and the next command is the all mobs. All mobs was a command. I think he talked about both this catch and all mobs in a previous video, and he decided to make these actual permanent commands rather than just an example for his video. But the all mobs does is it positions all sprites in one command. You have all mobs x, y, x0, y0, all the way ... x7, y7. So it's supposedly it's a lot faster. I haven't had time yet to play around with that command. I think it could come in handy, especially if you're moving around a lot of sprites and you need to do it quickly, because that is a highly optimized. The next command he talks about is on page 247, is the define or def command. And for the examples, it looks like you have a def type, so you could say define space integer, and then you can list variables there. I have yet to use that, so that is interesting. After that is the normal command, and what he says is a value of 1 clears the link table while a value of 0 does not. The normal command now supports an optional parameter that will clear the text line link table. I recommend clearing the line link table as a precaution to prevent a potential computer crash. I've experienced crashes when moving text printing to another 1K slot in memory. These crashes have been rare at present. I'm not sure of the official cause. So anytime you move the printing of text to another location in memory, consider having the link table cleared. He discussed in his previous video, Dennis did, of having extended support for multi-button controllers, so you could have 2-button controllers and 3-button controllers. And so he has a command for that, and then he discussed that in his previous video. There's commands for paddle and polling values for that, which could all come in handy depending upon the kind of game you're making. So now what I wanted to do is I wanted to do a new program, and I wanted to move on to the more advanced topics that he talks about on page 261, which is the ability to pass parameters to an assembly routine, and then also the ability to have those parameters passed back to your program. But let's start off easily. The example that he uses, which I thought was a pretty good one, where he displays a character, or he passes a character down to a routine. I thought we could do something like that. We're going to create a character to outchar, and we're going to pass it the letter that we want it to output. And then, maybe before we end, we pause for 5 seconds, And then on 100, we have a procedure, and very simply, JSR to 65490, which is FFD2, and then return. See if that runs. So it displayed the letter A. That just demonstrates that you can pass a variable into your procedure. So the way this less than works is the first parameter is your accumulator, the second parameter is your X register, and your third parameter is the Y register. You can then put a semicolon in between them and return back into your accumulator, your X, and your Y register. But I think it goes like this. Yeah, A, X, Y, like that. It's a little confusing. There's some pretty good examples in the book of how this works. But for now, we're just focusing on the sending a parameter. I just want to demonstrate and show that if I change 65 to 66, the letter B should display. And now say, for example, you wanted, instead of, let's lower the pause to like 3 seconds. What if you wanted to display A to Z, or something like that, or the first 20 instances of that letter that you select? So instead, you can come down here and we could say DEX branch if not equal 100 RTS. So we're just doing a quick loop with the X register set to 20. So X will automatically be loaded with that value of 20. So it should display that character 20 times. Let's run it. And then I have the pause for 3 seconds. I don't really need it in this example, but sometimes if you're playing around with colors, Vision Basic resets the colors back and you don't even get to see that the screen or background's colors change. One of the examples he lists on page 263 is a fairly good example, I think is pretty good, of returning those registers back to the program. So let's do a new, and let's write a new program. And so what he's doing is he's going to take a variable, we're going to define a decimal variable, and then he creates these tags for the low byte. And in our example, we're only going to use this low byte. And somehow he's figured out that that's the variable +4. Not exactly sure how he knows that, but it's in his example. The mid byte is variable +5 and the high byte is variable +6. So there is some method to his madness. Dennis is a very smart coder and a brilliant guy. So then he sets a variable equal, and we'll just kind of do like 1,000 or something like that. Oops. Let's make this 30 and get rid of 39. And then he calls a program that he writes. Instead of doing what he's doing, we're going to go minus, we're going to call it -1. And we're going to pass in the low byte, and then we're going to semicolon, get it also returned back. So bear with me on that. So we're going to pass in the low byte, so we're going to subtract 1 from it, and then we're going to return that back into that low byte. After it's done the calculation, we're going to print it out. We're going to print out the variable again to make sure it did indeed subtract 1. And we're just going to do a pause here for a couple of seconds after the program's done. And then in 100, we'll create the minus function. We'll create our procedure, if you will. So -1, we're going to set the carry. So when you're doing a subtraction in assembly language, the first thing you want to do is to set the carry. The opposite of if you were doing an addition, you would clear the carry if you're being careful. And then we're just going to do a really quick SBC 1 and return back. It can't get any simpler than that. Let's kind of clear the screen and list it again and give it a run, see if we messed up anything. And there you go. So we passed 1,000 down. We said subtract 1 from this 1,000 and return it back into that low byte. And in this case, I'm only manipulating the low character, and it probably won't work for values much higher. And that might just be lucky that it's working to begin with. His example that he has on page 263 is a little complicated. It's enough complicated that I don't understand it quite. So somebody out there could probably decipher that code. It's probably a little more generic, and even he says this isn't the best way. Of course, you could easily subtract 1 from a variable without using a routine like this. And those are the only real examples I wanted to point out, but I really think this feature where you can pass variables, not really variables, but you can pass registers down to your routine preset is a little bit of a time saver, and it makes your code look a little better, cleaner. So that is a nice welcomed feature. So I'm going to G-save this. And he does say, if that is important, don't rely on the GeoRAM alone. Make sure you save it to disk, save it somewhere else. 57,000, boom, we're back. And our program is saved. That is so beautiful, so quick, so much quicker to start the application. It's one of the greatest features that he fixes that he put into 1.1. And to be honest, for this just being a 0.1 upgrade, there's a lot of neat little extra goodies in here like this. Well, let's go back to page 257, where he talks about the random function. Random was in 1.0 as well, but this time it has been modified to allow for 2 types of random values. One that is derived with the help of the SID chip, and another that is mathematically formulated. The reason for using the latter is for cases you wish to recreate the results of a prior random number sampling. For example, you might use random numbers to create a starry sky for a game backdrop, and you would like to be able to reproduce that same starry sky again because you thought it looked perfect and balanced. The repeatable values work quite well and seem random enough, but it's possible to see patterns emerge in some scenarios. Still, the values produced by Vision Basic won't fully repeat themselves for a very long time. The repeatable random values will allow you to completely fill a bitmap screen with random placed dots, for example, and will require a ton of random values to be generated before the screen fills up. It goes on to explain you have the random command, random, space, then a seed value. And it's similar to using negative values as the parameter for the R&D function in regular C64 basic. Is there an R&D? Let's do a new. Let's go random. A equals random of 0. Print A. Let's get a keystroke. If M is 0, then 20. So let's run until a key is pressed and see if that works. Okay, so we can't do that. Hold on a second. Because when I said seed, I thought I could put in a number. If there is no parameter, the random noise generator is turned on. If you do specify a parameter, it will be used to create a new random seed. So I don't know if you just can't go that high. Okay, so there we go. Because I use random 0, it says on the bottom of the page, 257. If you supply a parameter of 0 in the R&D function, then it will select a random number between 0 and 255. And that's what I did on line 20. Now, if I put a value here, that means that it should generate the same random number. So if we were to instead put this in a for loop, let's print 10 numbers, and on line 40 do a next. So according to his instructions, this should produce the same random numbers. And indeed, it does. Whereas if you take the parameter off of line 10, if you take that parameter off, then it should use the SID, and you're going to get completely random numbers each time. Yeah. Yep. All right. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. So that's all the time I have for this video. It is my understanding that Dennis has just about wrapped up the finishing touches on this product, and it should be released soon. Looking at the website, it looks like there are a few packages available to choose from. You have the Vision Basic 1.1 package for $59. You have the Vision Basic 1.1 Plus version, which includes the GeoRAM package, which is available for $110. And you have the Vision Basic 1.1E version, which includes the manual plus the digital copy. Thank you for watching.